So then one day I wake up and I get a notification from the Secretary of State. Everyone should go onto the Secretary of State, get notifications about when your school committee meetings are. Because that's the only way I learned that my school placed my name on a public agenda saying that they were threatening to sue me for my public records requests.
Wow.
If I didn't get that notification from the Secretary of State, they would have had that meeting without me. I wouldn't have been paying attention. So I think it's really important for everyone to get those notifications so they, you're not thinking about the next school committee meeting while you're trying to, do your job and have a family. So as soon as I saw that, I reached out to Legal Insurrection, which is a conservative media outlet. And I said, this is happening to me. Can I write about this? And so that's when they hosted me on their site. And that was the first time that the story came out. And really thanks to them was what got this ball rolling. They did such a fantastic job. And that allowed me to gather public support to come to the school committee meeting where they basically gave me a show trial. I mean, it was a 5-hour meeting about Solis and her public records request. It was the first school committee meeting I had ever been to. And it was amazing. Hundreds of people came. People came from out of state. People called me from across the country, told me that they were going to watch this. And it was just like an out-of-body experience because my school committee spent their time discussing my like moral character for submitting these public records requests. They were like having this struggle session with their feelings about my public, like how they felt about my public records requests and what they meant about me and what it meant to the community. I mean, it was ludicrous. They let people line up and call me racist. They themselves said that this individual is linked to a national racist group. And then I found out later that they hired a PR firm to write that statement about me. So they used my tax dollars to work with a PR firm to write a statement that said, I'm linked to a national racist group.
Wow.
I mean, who does that? Because I talked to people in PR and they said that is not what PR is for.
And this is all because you wanted to know what your 5-year-old would be taught in this public school.
Yep. Yeah. Now, with the public records requests themselves, you have to submit small amounts of information at a time because I could have submitted all of my requests in one request, right? Mm-hmm. So I could have, imagine taking a piece of paper and writing 200 things on it that you want to know. I could have done it that way. But if I did it that way, it would have come back as like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I wouldn't have known where to start on like, well, which information can I afford? Mm-hmm. So by submitting small, narrow requests, I would get estimates back for like, okay, this is $100. And then I could save up money and try to purchase that information. I ended up purchasing almost $1,000 of information. Other than that, they're complaining right now about just giving me estimates. So it's a little misleading, I think, because they're saying, oh, we have to produce all these documents. But really, the only thing they have to do right now is give me an estimate. Mm-hmm. So I think even in the complaint, it said there are $90,000 worth of pages. Oh, sorry, I'm fast forwarding to the NEA. But in the NEA complaint, they're saying that 90,000 pages are coming toward me. But that's not true. I have to purchase that information, and I may not be able to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm getting lost on where to go
next. No, that's okay. That's okay. So you submitted a whole bunch. And I remember this from the school board, the school committee meeting that I watched, is the volume of requests that you were submitted, they found particularly offensive because you were submitting small requests just to make sure that, you were piecing them out bit by bit rather than including them in all one large request. And that caused a lot of consternation in the school committee when they were debating whether or not to sue you or to go into like mediation.
Right. And that is, it's that also their argument there doesn't really make sense because if I submitted one request with 200 things that I wanted to know, they would have had to have responded to me within 10 days under the law with 200 things and the estimate for that. Mm-hmm. It actually worked out better for them if I would submit one request a day because
Right.
now they have only one little thing to accomplish in 10 days. So it seems like what they're really saying is, well, you just asked for, oh, you had a lot of questions and we're really mad about that. Well,
Yeah.
it's the only way I could ask my questions were with public records requests. And you knew I had a lot of questions and you refused to answer them any other way. How are parents supposed to ask a lot of questions?
Right. Right. So how did
So
that feel? I want to just like go back to that, like just from a very human experience, because you would think, sending your kid to school, you ask what's going to be taught. These to me seem like very sensible questions. How did it feel to be asking pretty reasonable things and all of a sudden to find yourself in this situation where everyone's calling you a racist and the school committee is going to sue you over just asking very like what was that like?
so infuriating. Infuriating. When you're at a point in your life where you've made it, you have your family, you bought your house, your firstborn is going to school, like you made it through the baby years. Like it was just so hard, to get here at, age 30. I'm going to be 38 soon. And like, I thought, oh my God, like I have the American dream, like I did everything I was supposed to do. I didn't mess up. And now I'm going to send my daughter to school and I can't wait to watch her grow and thrive. And then this happens. And I'm looking at the people on this school board fumbling over their words, crying, saying they feel unsafe, threatening to sue me. And it was so infuriating to think that these, I'm sorry, like incompetent people are what were trying to like destroy me. They were trying to destroy my reputation. And just to just like try to like understand to being in that position of like, I'm sorry, you think you're gonna like ruin me after I came this far in my life and I am so happy. I have a beautiful, infuriating. And so
Go ahead.
It's really that just contempt that someone could abuse their power in that way to someone who absolutely did not deserve it and did everything they told me to do, really opened my eyes to the abuse of government. And that's why I'm here now. I cannot allow them to do that to me or anybody else, at least not in my town.
Yeah. And you were even telling me before we came on the air, like you used to be a Democrat. You were on the left. You believed in public schools just like me. And then this happens, right?
Yep. I used to be a Democrat. I didn't change to I didn't register as a Republican, because of this. I registered as a Republican for voting issues, but I would have still voted Democrat for, a candidate that I liked. But now that this has happened, I'm like, I'm never voting Democrat again. Absolutely not. I'm not going to put another person in power who could do this to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, and to be clear, I think this is a bipartisan issue. I don't think this is a Democrat or conservative issue. This is about our kids and knowing what they're being taught and not being pushed around by a school board, which is like, when you really remember, it's the government. Like, I get that they look like very benevolent sitting in this cafeteria in a room, but they are the government. They have government power and they're using their government power against me and they're leveraging my children to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like life or death. Like, don't put my children in this. Do not do that. This is more than that now.